Good morning, Capricorns. My name is Anne, and welcome to my channel, The Soul Goat Tarot. Today we'll be doing your weekly finance and money, finance and career reading. It should be about 30 to 40 minutes, so thank you for joining. Happy to be here on this beautiful Friday morning, the last day of February 28th, 2025. It's actually right on the dot, 9 o'clock a.m. It's interesting, a little bit of synchronicity because we are in a 9-year, 2025. So there's some sort of ending, and obviously we're ending February. The other thing I should note that we are on a day, if you add up the numbers, today it equals the number 3. February 28th, 2025. Add it all up, you get the number 21, that reduces to a 3. So I did shuffle each of my decks today 3 times. I've spent some time meditating over the cards of what the Capricorn collective needs to know in their career and finance money reading for the next week. But I would like to clarify the energy today with you, and I'd also like to cut the decks. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for joining. Spirit angels and guides, our highest and best. What does the Capricorn collective need to know? What do we need to know today when it comes to our career and finance? Only the best, only the clearest messages for transparency. What do we need to know for our highest and best? As you'll notice, we have all of our elements represented here. Welcome, Capricorn Suns, but if you have any placements in Capricorn, whether it be your ascendant, your north node, your Venus, even your moon sign, or cross watchers, welcome. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and clear the space here today. We're going to start off with a Moonology Oracle card. What is the overall theme? And I thought this was appropriate just because we did come off a new major lunation last night, which was February 27th here on the East Coast. It was around 7:45 p.m. where we had the new moon in Pisces, which kicks off a really powerful season. Given the fact that in 2 weeks, the full moon will be in Virgo, but it will also be a blood moon eclipse. We did pull the full moon in Virgo. That was very random. You are good enough. All right, let me go ahead. I don't know what to tell you. There's a lot of synchronicity there. The fact that we were just talking about the fact that we are coming into that full moon in Virgo in 2 weeks. I was literally just saying that as I pulled that card. Take a moment. What does that mean? All right, we'll go ahead and pull the Oracle card today. Okay, so I'll go ahead and I'll read the teaching from the Oracle guidebook here. You are good enough, full moon in Virgo. It's time to really be honest with yourself and understand what's led you to ask your question. Have you been humble to the point of being self-effacing? Humility is good, but if you go too far, and drawing this card suggests you may be underrating yourself. You don't have to be flashed, just quietly ascertain that you are good enough. At the other end of the scale, you also need to honestly answer the question, have you ever been too picky? The full moon in Virgo card needs some truthful answers. Once you're given them, it should be easier to see how you got where you are. Your next step should be more obvious to you. Pay attention to the details. Hard work brings results. So the card is asking us to find a balance between the cosmic and the mundane in your daily life. Worrying too much will attract more things to worry about. And the idea is to sort of declutter your home, your office. It's time to sort through what's good in your life and what's not serving you. It's time to clear out old energies via salt baths and meditations, to practice getting more grounded by walking barefoot. No matter what you draw this card, it's a reminder that any time is a good time to start living a healthier life. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull, what does the tarot, spirit, angels, and guides have to tell us about near-term energy, recent energy, and future or guidance around career and money for the Capricorn collective? We did pull the High Priestess in reverse. That actually makes a lot of sense if you've been listening to my other readings. We have the Nine of Wands in reverse. We actually are pulling the Two of Pentacles. And bottom of the deck, we're getting Eight of Pentacles. Okay, very appropriate, very much a Capricorn energy card. In numerology, 8 is really domain to the Capricorn collective. We are hardworking. It's about self-mastery before you can get to that 9. And it's sort of taking everything that we've learned through the 1, the 2, the 3, etc., and getting to a point of just mastering our craft and really working hard to get to the top of that mountain. So to me, I think that this is a very appropriate for a career and finance reading. And the other aspect here, if we add it in the sense of you are good enough, I think we need to really step into our power. Spirit's asking us here is that no matter what we're doing, whether it be an actual corporate career, perhaps it is a trade, perhaps it's just being the best partner you can be, or just the best version of yourself, whatever that looks like for you when it comes to your career and finance. Even if you're self-employed, I think what they're saying is you are enough just the way that you are, and just to keep going. And the longer that you stay really true to the idea that you are truly owning your own craft, your own self-empowerment, that ultimately is going to get us to the 9. That's ultimately going to get us to that. If you think about the traditional Rider-Waite deck, where it's this woman who's in this like luxurious gown in her garden, we're going to get to that garden. We're going to be able to sort of relish in all of the great rewards, if you will, for that hard work by just being true to ourselves and honest when we need to be. If something is not feeling right, if it just doesn't resonate in the way that it used to, it's time to let that go, especially with the coming of this full moon in Virgo. And it should be noted, Virgo is another earth sign, very, very domain to Capricorns. I think if I think about my own life, I know quite a few Virgos, and we tend to think very much alike, very strategic, very committed to their craft, very disciplined, very stoic in nature, very studious, and can be very committed to the work that they're doing and take passion in doing so. And that very much comes from having 2 feet on the ground, that earth energy. We are an earth sign as well. So I think that the Virgo full moon definitely complements us in that aspect in a very positive way for Capricorns, especially at a time where we are in Pisces season. And Pisces season, I think I've mentioned this before in some other videos, the line between reality and sort of that imaginative, dreamy state becomes very, very blurry. And we are invited to use our imagination to sort of step out of our comfort zone. But doing so for a Capricorn can become very chaotic. It's not our second nature. It is sort of stepping out of our comfort zone. And I think that that's why we have this High Priestess here in reverse. Pisces season is the season to step into our intuition, and that is what the High Priestess is all about. But sometimes when we do so and things don't necessarily go our way, or we're too insistent on a specific outcome, even though we might have a gut feeling about something, and it doesn't necessarily go in our way, that's where we might be a little bit out of balance in terms of our what we're feeling in our intuition. So we'll dig in there. We'll get some clarifiers. This Nine of Wands in reverse, I do find a little interesting. We've been having a lot of wand energy in recent readings, so I'm not necessarily surprised here that we are getting the Nine of Wands, but the fact that it's in reverse, typically in an upright position, it's very much a card of like you're taking some sort of defensive position. So I'm curious, Capricorns, was there something that you were putting yourself in a defensive position? The fact that it is in reverse might also mean that we might have a little bit of distrust amongst those around us still, some lingering doubts, some hesitation. Is there something in your career that's giving you misgivings? Is there something when it comes to, it is tax season as well, there could be something there that you might have a lot of boundaries, maybe a little too many boundaries when it comes to what we're willing to share about ourselves when it comes down to just moving forward. We also have this Two of Pentacles over here in the forward position, which is ultimately a choice. And that definitely makes sense in Pisces season. I like this card a lot, especially given the fact that you'll see these Two Pentacles. One is it's earth energy, obviously, deals with the material world. But we have this one that's clearly in the ground versus one that's more high in the sky, which, very fitting for a good balance, if you will, between all of this dreamy energy versus how do we bring that into more of a practical, how do we bring sacred action to some of the dreams that we might be having, and making that decision to move forward and take some sort of action. So let's get some clarity here, spirit, angels, and guides of our highest and best. I'd like to know and dig into this reading a little bit. Why do we have this two of the major card number 2 for the High Priestess and recent energy in reverse in our recent past? Why is the 2 here? Spirit, angels, and guides are our highest and best. What 1 or 2 cards? Let's get some clarity in terms of why the High Priestess is here. Got another 2 of Pentacles. Okay. A little bit of synchronicity here. We've got the 2, the 2, the 2. Anything else that we need to know about this High Priestess that we can learn from? Any additional clarity is, why is she in reverse? Why is she not in her... Oh, we got 2 cards here. We've got the 5 of Pentacles sideways. And we're also getting... We pulled the 8 of Swords in reverse. Okay. Let's see here. So when we think about the High Priestess in reverse and ultimately what that energy might entail, again, sometimes when we're walking away from that logical mind, if that makes sense, of the sun comes up in the east and sets in the west, the things in our life that might be just very solid and very predictable, very reliable, and all of a sudden not being so predictable, so reliable, especially in this dreamy energy, we might start to mistrust our own intuition. When all of a sudden, again, this is a season where the divine is asking us to really trust and to not necessarily be so concerned with the outcome, but really being focused on taking that next step, that next sacred step in terms of sacred action. And that's really what this two is about. It's asking us to take action in a more of a practical way. But in doing so, and not necessarily knowing what is going to be the outcome, but just sort of acting on that gut instinct. And this has been coming through, by the way, in a lot of the readings that I've done this week, can be very, I'll call it, we'll just say unnerving for the Capricorn collective. We are very, we like our security, we like our comfort, we like to know what's going to happen. We like to know that there's a reward for all of the hard work that we're doing, and not necessarily seeing that and just sort of letting go and going with that water energy that Pisces has to offer us can be really hard, especially when it comes to career. You know, just trusting the universe, trusting that our soul is here to provide for us. We might feel that we're, again, in this free-for-all energy where can we really trust ourselves? And when we stop trusting our intuition, we can kind of see the world a little bit sideways, where not necessarily that we are in a state of lack, because that's what the Five of Pentacles in the upright position, feeling left out in the cold, not necessarily an outcome that you were expecting. That hasn't happened yet, and that in our recent energy here. But we see it, but we're not sure if that is the intuition that we need to trust, or if that is the egoic mind sort of bringing in that fear-based construct. And so that's why I think that the High Priestess is in reverse, is because we might actually be listening to the egoic mind as opposed to that higher intuition that we need to be tapping into with the higher divine. And so that's why I think this is in this sideways position, is that the outcome actually hasn't happened. We kind of, and so often I feel like as a Capricorn, I see this train wreck, it's waiting to happen. And I spend so much of the here and now in this anxious state, fearing the worst, but when it actually happens, it's not the worst. And that's what I think that this Eight of Swords in reverse is actually telling us, is that there's some sort of action that we've been doing, but it's like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. We haven't fully gone in. We haven't fully trusted our senses. We have this fear that hasn't necessarily materialized, but we feel that it's there, but we're not sure, and we're confusing that egoic mind with reality. And so therefore this idea of the Eight of Swords, of this self-limiting belief, it is a little bit upside down right now, because we are like half in, half out. And I think what the universe is asking us to do, especially given that we're here, is we need to just really let go and stay focused on the hour, the minute, the next email. If you're in a corporate environment, the next conversation. Don't necessarily think, and so often too, I think in a lot of corporate positions, you might be thinking about a roadmap, or being able to secure funding. If you're in maybe a trade-based job, you might be concerned about the job security. You might be concerned about job security in general, no matter where you work, or even if you're self-employed. You know, there is a lot of uncertainty right now, and I think that we're being asked to just not take too much credence, acknowledge this potential. Okay, but it's not the only potential that is there for us. And that's what this Eight of Swords is telling us, is that we have the power to overcome this self-limiting belief. And that's why it's in reverse. And we can only do so by continuing to move forward. We can't get stuck. We need to continue to take sacred action. We can't sit and sort of dwell on what may happen, but instead we just really need to trust that the universe has our highest and best. And, you know, maybe the outcome that starts to come through isn't what we prefer, and that's really what fear is designed to do. It is designed to teach us and to allow us to step into an energy where we start to learn around what we do prefer and what we do not prefer, and to learn from it, and to take that more of that childlike innocence around learning, as opposed to getting stuck in some of this energy, which I think that we're being asked to let go of, which is the you are good enough. Doesn't matter what happens. We need to give ourselves grace to learn that we are still here on this earth school. It is a school designed to give us an education no matter what might happen. So let's just trust the process. Don't necessarily get too caught up in the outcome. Another download that I'm having right now, and another deck that I have is this idea of a spider web, right? And the spider is sitting there, and the card is really focused on us, and the analogy really is the archetype of this spider creating a web and just being able to that spider doesn't know that their next meal will necessarily come along. They can have all of the fears in the world, but instead they're focused on mastering their craft, making the best web possible, and just trusting that they're going to be fed, their soul's going to feed them, just trusting the process. And when the timing, divine timing is right, they're going to get their prey. They're going to be taken care of. And so, you know, I just think that is the energy that I'm getting here. We can't get stuck. Otherwise, we'll never finish our web. We're just never going to, we might even inadvertently manifest this lack energy, which is not what we want to do. We really want to stay in this ground of really squashing any self-limiting belief and just continue to move forward. Don't allow this self-limiting belief to stop us from taking sacred action. All right, so why do we have this Nine of Wands though in our current energy in the up and in the reversal position? Spirit, angels, and guides, our highest and best. What do we have to learn from the Nine of Wands? Wand energy. If you're new here, it is fire energy. It's about our passion, our soul purpose. Why is the Nine of Wands in reverse? You'll notice in the upright position, fire energy again, she's in this defensive position. There could be some sort of, defensive position makes sense if we're protecting our energy, but it can also work against us if we are too distrusting. And that's a little bit what I was getting from recent past, especially with the Queen of Wands in reverse. We've got the King of Wands in the upright position. What else do we need to learn here, Spirit, is the Nine of Wands in reverse. We've got the King of Swords. We've got two kings here, very strong energy. This came out in the upright position. So from my perspective, which I'm showing to you today. So when it comes to these energies, we've got two kings here, very powerful energies, very masculine energies. Again, if we're not trusting our own intuition, we're confusing that with the egoic mind, which leads into this lack-based energy, this fear-based energy. We have the power. This is reminding us that we can't be so distrusting, that the ability that we have innately within ourselves to trust with the wand, this fire energy, to step into our own passion, as well as cutting out that which no longer serves us. And I think that is ultimately this sacred action, this decision that we're being asked to noodle on in maybe recent past, and we're at that decision point now. And we might be a little just still in this distrusting energy. We don't necessarily trust that we're still in this sideways spot of this Five of Pentacles. But when you think about career and finance, perhaps there's something here that we know that the action that we could take, okay? We see an action, we see a choice. The choice could be either to quit, perhaps quitting a job. I see some people might be, they've found their purpose. They've been blessed in that way, that they have arrived at a point in their life in which they know what gets them up in the morning, what motivates them, what makes them happy. You might be a Capricorn who has arrived at that point, especially after being 18 years of being stuck with Pluto in our sign. Pluto has taught us a lot, and it is the archetype of wealth and money, but also teaches us a lot about our soul's purpose. We might be at that point where we know what we want to do and we're ready to move forward, and we know exactly how. We're here at this point where we have been mastering our craft for quite some time, and Spirit is telling us we are enough, especially with this full moon. On the other hand, it also might mean that we need to cut something out of our life in order to let this come in. So these two energies, I think, are so powerful in the here and now, especially given the fact that we are, about 2 weeks outside of that full moon. I think we're being asked in the here and now is to really feel confident in what it is that makes us happy and whole. we only get this one life to live in terms of this time. There's no such thing as tomorrow. It's about the here and now. It's about trusting the process. It's about taking that action of whatever provides our highest excitement in the moment. It's that oneness, that space in between becoming something. We have to just step into that energy of just knowing, of just trusting, and feeling confident in that. And you'll notice here that he's not looking back, he's looking forward, right? He's looking forward. He's sitting there confident. He has that lion energy in the background way up here. You'll notice, and that's a little bit more about that lion energy as well, which is about knowing thyself. And so knowing thyself is so important, especially I think as Capricorns, we sometimes will compromise what makes us whole and happy because of what's practical. And I think of that might have been something or a big lesson that we needed to have learned or are learning. And that's where we have to make some sound choices and use our own trust and confidence here in terms of taking that leap. And the king here is ready to help us. This air energy, the king of swords is saying, it's time. It's saying trust in yourself. Take that, that confidence that the king energy with the sword is offering us. Don't start second guessing ourselves. Don't start. And this idea of, again, in the upright position, it's a defensive position. It can be good. It can be about others in terms of protecting our peace, protecting our energy. But in a reversal, can oftentimes be about, especially it's a 9 of wands. If the whole world, we've sat and we've put ourselves first, and we've done all of this work around protecting ourselves, protecting our energy, but it's in reverse. It's no longer about other people that we have to defend ourselves against. It's about our own distrust of our own self and our own purpose and what we're here to do. And really comes down to, again, about perhaps this 5 of Pentacles on the sideways. The outcome hasn't happened, but we could be inadvertently manifesting this outcome because we're confusing and we're getting sort of trapped into this cycle here. And the 9 of Wands is saying it's time to stop. 9s are endings. It's time to trust our intuition. It's time to stop, thinking that we're in this chaotic force, but rather to relish in the fluidity of the season, to become more imaginative, to allow the grace of ourselves, to give ourselves grace that we're not necessarily always going to get it right, but to take pleasure in the moment that is at hand. And I think that having that King of Wands, that's the wand is this passion energy is saying we're here. The Spirit is here to help us with that. Spirit is also here to say, we're gonna in the next 2 weeks, we're gonna chop out that which stands in the way of our purpose. All right, and so we do have again this 2 of Pentacles here. Again, it looks as if whatever decision that we've been noodling on, we know what the options are. Okay, we know what Spirit is saying. We know what makes us happy. We know what our purpose should be in terms of our career or a hobby or a passion. We also know options that we could cut things out so we can make room for all of this great joy, this love. And we have this choice to make, but to do so in a balanced way. So, Spirit, angels, and guides of our highest and best. Why is the 2 of Pentacles here in the advice or future outcome, future potential? Just a few cards. Give us, got a card, the flipper that fell. Let's see here. With the High Priestess in the upright position, guys, I can't make this up. Another 2. The Spirit is literally saying to us, we have to turn this upside down intuition into the upright position. What else, Spirit, can we share with the Capricorn collective? Can we clarify this 2 of Pentacles? How are we to move forward? How are we to use this energy? We're here at the end of February 28th. And we have this Ace of Pentacles in reverse. Okay. So this is clearly a decision point that we are at. That is what I'm definitely sensing here. This reading has a narrative that is really coming through. We have been in this state of not trusting. We need to step into a state of knowing. We need to step into a state of just being present, of moving forward, of using that wand energy from the king, as well as the sword energy from the King of Swords, and to chop out, make space, make way, start trusting ourselves to make those decisions, to take that sacred action. And that's what this Two of Pentacles is saying, is to put ourselves in balance here by using, truly not using the egoic mind about, logic. Logic is important, don't get me wrong. I mean, we all, money drives a lot of things, and it limits a lot of things too. But I think that by just taking even the most minute step is a step in the right direction. And then being able to just take advantage, to step into that joy, that love, that peace that we're getting, whatever it is that we're seeking to learn in terms of our soul contract. And it might be something major. It might be quitting a job. It might be starting a new business. Whatever that is, that's what we're in this energy now thinking about. And it's that what if season, that imaginative season, without being concerned about if it actually will materialize. Let's just step into the I wonder what would happen if I started my own business. I wonder what would happen if I quit my job and I started, that passion project. And then deciding and really trusting, hey, what gives us our highest excitement, our highest fulfillment, our highest joy. And it could also be on it doesn't have to be as dramatic as quitting a job or starting a new business. It could be, starting a new hobby. It could be taking a class. It could be deciding, I'm really not loving yoga, so I'm gonna quit yoga and I'm gonna do something else. Okay. Now I have this hour back to myself on a Saturday, and I'm gonna do XYZ. Whatever it is really to stop being concerned about the practical side. But even, hey, you paid for 5 classes and you only went to 4, and you really don't want to go to the 5th class. You know what? That's that practical energy saying, it's not in your best interest. It's no longer serving your purpose. So cut it out, right? And then also, if we don't do this, that's the other choice here. That's the other choice that we have to make. And she's a little confused. If we don't leverage that the high priestess energy about trusting our own intuition, trusting the divine, looking for synchronicity. Again, Pisces season is all about synchronicity. If we don't do that, then this pentacle, this opportunity that we're looking for, we're not going to get it. It's gonna slip through our fingers, because I think it's already here. That's what I'm getting. It's already here in the here and now, but it has the potential of slipping through our fingers because we're still stuck over here. We're still stuck in this self-limiting belief, not trusting ourselves, and really this energy that is here before us, that is ours for the taking. We're still not trusting ourselves to use it. And that's what I think the universe is trying to say in the overall message today, is that, hey, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're not always going to get it right? But the new moon is here. The new moon was in that energy. That lunation is very, very powerful. And it should be noted that when we think about lunations, it's not just about the 2 weeks, and we are going into eclipse season. So full moon in Virgo, yesterday was a new moon in Pisces. The full moon in Pisces will come 6 months later. So whatever seeds that we're planting now, whatever it is, whatever divine action, we have such a beautiful potential to realize this opportunity in the next 6 months, but only if we really step into that high priestess energy. We have that decision point, and that's ultimately the free will. That's the free will that we all have, that sacred free will that is intuitive to all of us. But asking the divine for help, there's so many spirit angels and guides just waiting for us. We have a whole army at our disposal. So take the moment, take the quiet, look for an opportunity to really connect with and you might have to revisit yourself, your higher soul, right? Your oversoul. You might have to have a conversation and really think through in the quiet. Go take a walk in nature, whatever it is, to really reconnect. Because I think that we are getting lost in the sauce of the season, and it's easy to do. It's easy. Pisces on the lower end can be very chaotic. It can feel like a free fall, especially for Capricorns. We don't want to be falling down a mountain. That's maybe where the sideways energy is coming from. We want to stay planted on the ground. But the spirit is saying we can do this. We can do both. We're not going to necessarily be graceful, but we can give ourselves grace as we take that next step. And we're continuing to march forward. We always do. This is Capricorn energy. We never give up. All right, so I think I'm going to leave it here, but let's close our reading today with a Mind Info Oracle card. Spirit, angels, and guides of our highest and best. What last message do we have for the Capricorn collective when it comes to our overall energy? And we have protect. Protect. You're being asked to protect yourself and your energy. It's okay to want to give to others, which you do effortlessly. It's important, though, that you set healthy boundaries within your energy before doing so. Now is the time to get some protection in place. And that's what I think. That's how I think in here and now, especially, how do we turn this from a position of not trusting ourselves to really getting into this energy of protecting our own energy? It's by taking the sacred action around doing what we want to do, not worrying about what others think. So with that, Capricorns, I think we will call it a day. I wish you nothing but the happy, healthiness, love, and light, and I hope you have a great weekend. Thank you for being here.